Hello, my name's Alina, and our group is the win-win situation. So, what is the win-win situation? Well, it's a mental thought process that basically states that if I can win, you can win too. It also is the foundation of getting along with others. So, if you want to get along with others, the best way to do it is to think win-win. Now, why would you want to think win-win? Well, it basically states that we are all equal, and like I said, it provides a basic foundation of creating very healthy and positive relationships with others. So it always starts with you. To be happy, you need to first be happy with yourself. You need to be confident with yourself. And you basically need to be able to accept others' success. If you lack confidence or so basically, if you lack confidence or content with yourself, you will not see the win-win situation as clear as it should be seen. So without that level of confidence, you may feel threatened by others, and you may not end up being happy for others when they succeed or complete an achievement that you wanted to complete. For example, a test situation, you always want to think positive for others. You want to believe that you can also get an A and they can also get an A. And that is the win-win situation. And by thinking win-win, you're not only increasing your confidence levels, you are enjoying others' achievements and successes, and you will genuinely no longer feel threatened by others. Gianna will be talking about the win-win situation also.
Okay, so just a continuation of what Alina said. I'm Gianna, by the way. While trying to transfer your beliefs over to the win-win situation, you definitely want to avoid the tumor twins. And the tumor twins are basically competition and comparison. So comparing yourself and like whoever you're competing with. So competition, of course, is extremely healthy. It helps build your character. It helps you trying to achieve goals. And it's a very powerful thing, but it can also be a very dark thing. And so when you compete against yourself and you tie in your self-worth and winning it'll get you into a negative place kind of. So you don't really want to you want to try to avoid the competition turning into a negative thing. And same with comparison. I mean, you never want to socially compare yourself to anybody. It's all about, like Alina said, it starts with you. So you never want to be putting yourself down, whether it's looks or personality or like self-worth or money or anything. You just want to be in a socially positive atmosphere. And so we also linked in our slide a YouTube video, and it's a scene from the movie Bridesmaids. So I feel like a lot of people in this class have seen it. And it's pretty much about two friends arguing with each other. One friend is feeling really negative and sad and kind of a lose-lose situation. And the other friend is trying to build her up. And pretty much in the win-win situation, you don't want anyone to be knocking you down or trying to put you down. So you definitely are holding your ground. But at the same time, you also want your friends to succeed. So she's really caring, Megan, that's her name. She really cares about her friend, and she's trying to empower her to do her best, pretty much. And so I think the movie scene is a perfect example of like a win-win situation. So you can kind of get a visualization from almost kind of a funny perspective, because it is kind of a comedy movie. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And so I'm going to pass it on now to Seamus, who has the win-lose perspective.
Yeah. So in the book, Seven Habits, the win-lose attitude was summarized, I think, really well by the quote, if the two of us are being chased by a bear, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. And I think that really sums it up, because the win-lose scenario is also referred to as the totem pole method, because it requires you to view people as either above you or below you, and that one person's success means that you or somebody else is failing and falling behind. It talks a lot about how this scenario is, we're kind of pushed to believe in it early on based on like indoctrination from public school, like awards, ribbons, trophies, that if one person is winning, that means that somebody else isn't winning. So work can do that with promotions and pay raises. If someone gets a promotion, you might feel like it'll keep you from getting a promotion because they just got it, instead of being happy for them. And if you kind of believe it, like there's nothing wrong with competition, but if you believe that everything is a trade-off where one person wins, that means by default you lose, it can lead to holding a lot of negative feelings inside. And that's where the line is divided between like friendly competition and the win-lose attitude. And based on the reading, I think an easy way to avoid the win-lose attitude is just be more empathic. So in your negotiations or just interactions with others, there's nothing wrong with like wanting to push your way of doing things, but at the same time, you need to consider how your actions or what you're saying would make others feel. And just in general, it's good to consider how it makes others feel and the long-term consequences of your actions, because if you're only concerned with getting ahead and pushing your way over everyone else's, it'll make people less likely to want to work with you in the future, and they'll be less cooperative with you. So in general, it's good to avoid the win-lose attitude, because it'll just be better preserving professional and also like just regular relationships with people. And I wanted to talk about an example of how the win-lose attitude affected me a couple years back during my senior year in high school. This was around the time when everyone was getting like college acceptance letters, and there would be schools that either like I would apply to and a friend would apply to, and let's say they would get in and I didn't, and it was kind of easy for me to fall into the mindset of thinking that like their acceptance, like as if their acceptance was somehow responsible for my rejection, which isn't the case. And had I just kind of matured a little bit and been happy for them, I think it would have been better for like my stress at that time. And just good vibes all around. So this part of the book really resonated with me just because I'm ready to transfer. So it's kind of like a second chance to just participate, not taking part in the win-lose attitude and just being happy for my friends and myself, no matter where we go. So with that said, I want to pass it along to Tatum, who is going to be talking about another attitude.
All right, so the scenario I was in charge of is the lose-lose concept. This concept is also considered the downward spiral for a variety of reasons. It is the idea that if I'm going down, you are going down with me. In this particular situation, it has a variety of causes, from jealousy issues as well as unhealthy relationships and often poor self-image. It involves two people who are both insist on winning, which ultimately benefits no one if no one is willing to compromise. Without any compromise, people fail. Another example is two people who are codependent in relationships. The book discusses people often become abusive and controlling, and this results in a toxic relationship where both people lose because they are both overly dependent on one another for their own security. Ultimately, these control issues result in both parties losing. So according to outofthefog.com, a self-help website, most people who participate actually in the lose-lose behavior have a personality disorder, which is really intriguing because the book also gives an example of a high school girl, and she participates in the lose-lose behavior because she gets upset. She has a best friend since she was younger. In freshman year, her and that best friend separate a little bit because she is more introverted, and her best friend, who is more extroverted, becomes more popular and gets a boyfriend, and things excel for her faster. And instead of communicating effectively with her friend that she is feeling that she is left behind, she begins to sabotage the relationship. She sabotages the relationship in a variety of ways. She's cruel to her friend and distances herself and kind of self-loathes as well. Because of that, both parties lose, and neither one of them are able to win in any sort of way. And it also promotes a really unhealthy communicative style. Another most common form of the lose-lose situation that I think we can all identify with is the revenge concept. A lot of people are wronged and that they believe they seek revenge on someone else. However, two wrongs do not make a right. And so when you hurt someone else, you're hurting yourself as well. Again, the lose-lose concept. So in conclusion, lose-lose is a downward spiral that benefits no one. The situation is a result of jealousy, poor self-esteem, unhealthy and toxic, often codependent relationships, and personality disorders. And now Tyler is going to discuss the final part of our project.
Hi, I'm Tyler. So I'll be talking about the lose-win concept. And with the lose-win, it's not something that everybody likes to do unless you have that personality of don't mind being pushed around and like this is good. But everybody who I know does not like the lose-win. So basically the lose-win is if I'm having an argument with someone and then you don't see it how they see it and you know you are right, but you're just going to let them win because you don't mind losing and you don't mind being pushed around. With lose-win, your expectations get very low and find yourself being just not knowing what to do, and like you don't want to express yourself because if you want to express yourself, then no one will really like to see you out because you've never done that before, and it's not very healthy. And getting in with lose-win, a lot of it is getting hurt physically and mentally. And what I mean by that is when you're getting pushed around and you just don't know what to do with anything, and you start to feel really depressed inside, and that is how you start getting trapped and feeling yourself lost. And if saying how you feel to people means that losing friendships is kind of like where you want to go with that, then like you don't want to do that. And I thought that with this subject, it's not very good to think this way, and no one deserves to be abused in whatever type of way it can be, or that's how I feel about that. So with that, I'll be passing on to Gianna to conclude our presentation.
Okay, so pretty much I'm going to conclude the rest of this in our presentation. We pretty much just want to convey that the win-win perspective is extremely important for your mental health. Just staying positive overall emulates a really healthy effect on your body itself too, so it can actually keep you healthy as well physically. So to take away, pretty much I don't really like how this says highly effective teens, because I feel like with our habit, I feel like a lot of adults today too are affected by having a really bad perspective on life. So if you want to try and transition to the win-win perspective, you can take a look at our brochure that we made. It's 2 sides, and the second page is the inside. So once you print it out, you can fold it up and take it wherever you want. And it can kind of just give you a few ideas on how to change and have a more positive outlook on your life. And then just to pretty much sum up our presentation overall, Alina and I talked about the win-win perspective. Seamus talked about the win-lose perspective. Tatum talked about the lose-lose perspective, and Tyler talked about lose-win. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so thank you guys. Bye.